The fluorescent hospital light hummed above me while Dr. Hayes's lips kept moving, but all I heard was one sentence. This wasn't an illness, Maya. You've been poisoned. My throat went dry. My hand shook so hard the foreline trembled. A nurse adjusted the drip like this was normal, like this wasn't murder happening in slow motion. Then my phone rang. My insurance company. The agent said, "Calm as a weather report. We're confirming the changes to your business life cover. Your beneficiary is now your partner, Vanessa Cole." My stomach flipped. Because I didn't change anything. I whispered, barely audible, "What partner?" The agent repeated her name. And my body, already weak, somehow found a colder kind of fear. I stared at the ceiling and realized the person who called me sister had been planning my funeral. I forced my voice steady and asked the agent to repeat everything. The date, the method of change, the email used, the signature on file. He hesitated, then said it was approved in person with identity confirmation at their downtown branch 3 weeks ago. My vision blurred. I pictured Vanessa smiling in our last meeting, pushing herbal tea toward me like care in a cup. She'd insisted I drink it daily for my stress levels. A nurse named Patricia leaned in, concerned. I pulled her closer and whispered, "I need you to write down every medication I've had, every visitor, everything that's touched my mouth." She nodded, but her eyes widened as she finally understood. This wasn't a medical mystery. It was a crime scene. I texted Vanessa, pretending I was improving. "Doctor says I'm getting better. Thank you for everything." Her reply came too fast. "Thank God. I'll bring you something homemade tomorrow." She arrived radiant the next morning, soft perfume, warm smile, a bag containing what she called healing soup, like she was the hero of my story. She kissed my forehead and called me my strong woman, and the words landed like blades. I acted grateful. I thanked her. I even laughed once, because I needed her relaxed and unsuspecting. When she stepped out to take a call, I looked into the bag. The soup container was sealed, neat, labeled with my name in her handwriting. Too neat. Too deliberate. Patricia returned. I slid the container toward her like it was nothing and whispered, "Please don't let me eat this." She stiffened. "Why not?" I answered quietly, "Because I think she's trying to finish what she started." Patricia's face went pale. My partner walked back in and caught Patricia holding the container. Vanessa's expression barely changed, but I saw it, a micro flicker of panic before she smoothed it back into sweetness. "Oh, that's for her later," she said lightly, reaching for it too quickly. Patricia paused, professional mask on, but her eyes met mine. She set it down and said, politely firm, "Hospital policy. We store all outside food for safety checks." Vanessa laughed like it was ridiculous. "It's just soup. I made it myself this morning." I watched her fingers tighten around the bag strap. She kissed me again, too close, whispering, "Stop listening to anxious thoughts, Maya. You're paranoid from the medications." Then she left, still smiling, her heels clicking down the corridor. The room went quiet. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. Minutes later, my phone buzzed with a notification I never expected. "New login to your email account from unknown device." I tried to log in. My password didn't work. Another attempt. Locked out completely. My hands shook. I called my assistant, Theo, from the business, and he whispered like he was afraid of walls. "Someone has been requesting documents, Maya. Your partnership papers, your insurance file, your bank access codes." I asked the question that made my throat burn. "Who requested them?" He hesitated. "Vanessa. She said you told her to handle everything while you're in hospital. She had authorization letters with your signature." I stared at the hospital curtain, suddenly sure it was too thin to protect me from anything. My mind raced. Those signatures were forged. They had to be. Theo added, voice dropping even lower. "And Maya, she's scheduled an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning. She's calling it leadership transition planning." I stared at the screen on my phone and felt something snap inside me, not cruelty, not vengeance, but pure resolve. I asked Detective Garrison if we could document her lies and movements. He said, "We're already monitoring her communications and financial transactions. But Maya, you need to keep her talking. We need her to slip up on record." So I did the unthinkable. I called Vanessa directly. My voice was soft, vulnerable, defeated. I said, "Vanessa, I'm scared. I don't know what's happening to my body. The doctors can't seem to fix me." She exhaled like relief flooding through her. "Oh, Maya, don't worry about anything. I'm handling everything at the company. You just focus on resting." Then she added, casual and deadly, "Just rest and don't ask questions about business right now. Stress will only make you sicker." As she spoke those words, I watched a new email notification appear on my phone screen. Someone was attempting to reset my banking access credentials again. Howard pulled emergency transaction logs from our business accounts with the bank's fraud team cooperation. We discovered small withdrawals, perfectly spaced over the past 8 months, disguised as vendor payments to companies that didn't exist. At first, I wanted to deny it, because the amount seemed modest. 2,000 here, 3,000 there, because it felt too calculated to be real. But the pattern was undeniable, a slow, patient siphon, building a private financial cushion for Vanessa. Howard said grimly, "Maya, this isn't spontaneous desperation. She's been planning for your absence for months, maybe longer." Then we found something worse, a draft partnership agreement for a new company called Cole Ventures, using our exact client list, our proprietary processes, our trade secrets. Vanessa wasn't only trying to inherit my business through my death. She was preparing to duplicate it entirely. Detective Garrison called with an update. "We've traced the insurance beneficiary change location. It wasn't done remotely. It was done in person at the branch." Detective Garrison showed me a still image from security camera footage. Vanessa at the insurance branch, wearing a crisp navy blazer, calm professional posture, signing documents with the same hand that used to clasp mine when we celebrated contract wins. But she wasn't alone in the footage. A man stood beside her, mid-40s, leaning in close, clearly guiding the process with familiarity. The detective said, "We're working on identifying him through facial recognition. He might be a professional document forger." I swallowed hard against the nausea. "Oh, an accomplice who's done this before." He nodded slowly. "That's our working theory. This wasn't amateur work, Maya. This was coordinated fraud with your murder as the endpoint." My chest tightened painfully. This wasn't just betrayal by a trusted friend. This was collaboration. This was conspiracy. Detective Garrison added carefully, "Maya, I need you to confirm something critical. Did you ever give Vanessa written authorization to act alone on insurance or banking matters?" I remembered, with painful clarity, a moment from 2 years ago when we first formalized our partnership. I told Vanessa, in friendship and genuine trust, "If anything ever happens to me, keep the company alive and thriving." She'd smiled and promised she would. She took that sentiment, that expression of trust, and tried to weaponize it as legal permission. But I also remembered something else, something that now saved my life. I never gave her actual signing authority beyond routine operational decisions. I kept the legal ownership structure pristine. 75% mine, 25% hers, major decisions shared, ultimate control protected by bylaws. It wasn't mistrust back then. It was simply good governance. That paperwork, those careful boundaries, became my shield now. Detective Garrison nodded with satisfaction. "That's exactly what we needed to hear." Then he added, "Maya, Vanessa just showed up at the hospital front desk. She's demanding to see you immediately, claiming family emergency." Hospital security hesitated because Vanessa was known to staff, had visited multiple times before, seemed genuinely concerned. She walked into my room carrying fresh flowers and a smile so polished it looked painful to maintain. She sat too close to my bed, voice dropping low and intimate. "Maya, people are saying terrible things about me. Accusations. You wouldn't let strangers destroy what we built together, would you?" I looked at her face, this woman I trusted, partnered with, defended to skeptical investors, and realized she wasn't here to comfort me. She was here to assess how much I knew, to test my awareness of her schemes. I acted weak, confused. I said slowly, "I just want to get better, Vanessa. That's all I want now." Her eyes searched my face like scanning equipment. Then she squeezed my hand, too tight, pressure bordering on pain, and whispered, "Good answer. Because you wouldn't want accidents to happen when you're already this fragile. After she left, Patricia came in and discovered my phone line had been tampered with. Patricia called Dr. Hayes immediately. The phone line was replaced with urgent care. The incident was meticulously documented with photographs and written reports. I watched the entire hospital staff move faster now. No more politeness toward Vanessa, no more benefit of doubt. Detective Garrison arrived that same evening, his expression grave. I told him exactly what Vanessa said, the veiled threat about accidents. I showed him the full tampering report. His face went cold and hard. That's witness intimidation and attempted harm. This escalates everything. He asked carefully if I could safely record Vanessa if she contacted me again. I nodded without hesitation. My voice didn't shake this time. I was done being afraid. I was ready to fight back. At midnight, my phone lit up with a message from Vanessa. Let's end this peacefully, Maya. Just tell them you were confused from medications. We can fix this together. She called the next morning, her voice honey-sweet and reasonable. Maya, we can fix this entire misunderstanding. I'll step back publicly from leadership. You just need to tell the police it was stress and medication confusion. We've been friends for 5 years. Don't throw that away. I kept her talking, letting her fill the silence. I asked gently, carefully, Vanessa, why would the police think you did something wrong? She slipped, just slightly, her voice sharpening, because people don't understand what it takes to protect what's ours when you're too sick to lead. Ours. Not mine. Not the company's future. Ours. As if she already owned it. I said nothing, creating empty space for her to fill with desperation. And in her need to justify herself, she added the fatal words. I did what I had to do, Maya. What any real partner would do. The call ended. Detective Garrison texted immediately. We recorded everything. That's enough for arrest. Police moved quietly and professionally. Vanessa didn't get a dramatic scene at my bedside. She got procedure, questioning, search warrants, seizure of electronic devices and financial records. I didn't feel joy or triumph. I felt heavy, shaking relief, like my body finally believed it was allowed to survive, allowed to live beyond this nightmare. But then Howard called with another complication. Maya, Vanessa is telling everyone, investors, clients, staff, that you set her up because you wanted to force her out of the partnership. And she has supporters who believe her. My stomach sank with dread, because if the business community believed her narrative, the company could still die even if I survived. Our reputation would be destroyed. Our clients would flee. 5 years of building would collapse. Howard added, the board chair, Douglas, has requested an emergency meeting. With or without your participation, it's happening tomorrow morning. I attended via secure video call, my hospital gown hidden beneath a blazer draped carefully over my shoulders. I didn't tell a tragic victim's story. I presented cold facts, medical confirmation of thallium poisoning, legal confirmation of unauthorized insurance changes, forged authorization documents, attempted signing authority changes, documented transaction anomalies totaling $4,000 to $7,000. I said one sentence, calm and final. This company will not be run by sentiment or sympathy. It will be run by truth and evidence. The virtual meeting room was silent. Then Douglas cleared his throat uncomfortably. Maya, we didn't want to believe these accusations against Vanessa. She seemed so dedicated. I replied without emotion, belief isn't a strategy, Douglas. Evidence is strategy. The board voted unanimously to suspend Vanessa pending investigation. Then Douglas added, there's one more issue we discovered. Vanessa filed a life insurance claim. Last week, before you were even diagnosed as terminal. The insurance company confirmed the timeline. A claim was initiated under the assumption that my condition was terminal and death was imminent. My hands went cold despite the warm hospital room. It meant Vanessa wasn't waiting for certainty or medical confirmation. She was pushing the timeline forward, trying to cash in before anyone could stop her. Howard blocked the claim immediately and notified the insurer's fraud investigation unit. The insurance company escalated to their special investigations team. Now, multiple systems were closing in on Vanessa simultaneously: criminal prosecution, civil liability, corporate governance violations, insurance fraud. Not revenge. Accountability. Not cruelty. Justice. The fraud investigator, a woman named Claire Dutton, contacted Howard with disturbing information. This isn't Vanessa Cole's first attempt at insurance fraud. There are older flags attached to her name from a previous business relationship in another state. We learned that Vanessa had previously attempted to claim benefits linked to another failed business venture 3 years ago. Nothing was proven definitively, but enough irregularities existed to form a troubling pattern. I sat with that information and felt a sadness I didn't want. Vanessa didn't become this overnight. She practiced being this. She refined her methods. I was just her latest target. Theo visited me in the hospital and cried, saying, "Maya, I heard her say it once. She told another staff member that you didn't deserve the success. That you were just lucky, not talented. I should have told you then." Lucky. The word echoed bitterly. I almost died. Theo handed me something he'd found hidden in Vanessa's locked desk drawer after police executed the search warrant, a folder labeled with my full name in her handwriting. Inside the folder were copies of my identification documents, business passwords written on paper in Vanessa's handwriting, detailed notes about my daily routines, even a list documenting what I ate and drank during meetings. It read like preparation. It read like surveillance. It read like a hunting manual. I closed my eyes and breathed through waves of nausea. This wasn't a single desperate decision made in crisis. This was long, patient, methodical construction of betrayal. This was premeditated murder disguised as partnership. I handed the folder to Detective Garrison when he visited. He said quietly, professionally, "This evidence will matter significantly in court, Maya. It establishes premeditation and planning." Then he added something unexpected. "Vanessa has requested to speak with you directly. She says she wants to apologize and explain. We can arrange a monitored call if you consent." They arranged a controlled conversation through official legal channels. No physical contact. No courtroom dramatics. Just monitored words recorded for evidence. Vanessa cried convincingly. She said she was desperate about money. She said she never meant for things to go this far. I listened carefully, and what I heard wasn't genuine remorse. It was regret about getting caught, about failure. Then she said the one thing that finally freed me completely from any remaining guilt. "Maya, you always had more than me. More connections. More luck. More opportunities. I just wanted what was fair." Fair. That single word crystallized everything. I answered, my voice steady and clear. Fair was 25% partnership. Vanessa, you tried to take 100%. And my life. There's nothing fair about murder. She started to respond, but I disconnected the call. I realized then that the hardest part wasn't the legal case or the business recovery. It was deciding what kind of person I'd become after surviving this. Recovery was slow, but I recovered. My strength returned gradually. The thallium left my system with treatment. The company stabilized under temporary leadership. The board implemented stronger governance protocols and oversight systems. My staff slowly relearned trust through clear policies, not blind faith in personality. The legal process ran its methodical course. Evidence presented, hearings conducted, consequences delivered. Vanessa was convicted on multiple charges: attempted murder, insurance fraud, embezzlement, forgery. I didn't celebrate her prison sentence. I simply built my life back with boundaries so clear they felt like peace instead of paranoia. When people asked why I seemed so cold to someone who begged forgiveness, I told them the truth. I wasn't cold. I was finished. Because forgiveness can be personal and private, but access must be earned through trustworthy action. I end with this warning: watch this before trusting a friend with your business. Love without structure, trust without verification, friendship without boundaries. That's how people bury you while you're still breathing.